They don't know if I'm here to hit somebody, kill somebody, abuse somebody. So they left. He goes, is that how you want to live? I was thrilled. I said, yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
My name is Robert Borelli, and this is my story. God saved my life, and He can do the same for you. In Brooklyn, that's what you did. You fought.
Yeah.
I fought almost every day of my life through Brooklyn, going back and forth to school.
Yeah.
And then we had the gangs on every other block. You had a gang, so that was just part of the life. Yeah. Matter of fact, they made a movie, I think, called The Warriors.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And that was about Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know.
About
yeah.
Brooklyn.
Wasn't Stallone in that movie?
No, I don't think Stallone was. I forget who it was, though. But anyway, the point I'm saying is that a lot of that movie was true, because if you took a train ride and you went into another place and you seen a bunch of guys coming on, you knew you were getting into a fight.
Yeah.
Because you were in their turf.
Yes.
So that was part of my life. Violence was part of my life even as a young kid. Yeah. Then when I started hanging out with you, it just grew even more.
Yeah. I was never in a gang, but so for me, I was born into it. You know, the year I was born was the same year my father got straightened out. In 53, and he used to tell me that was the best year of my life. I got married and I became a father, and I used to go, yeah, lucky me. Yeah. You couldn't open up a barber shop. So I was just raised. Then when I found out who he was and what he was capable of, I was like, oh man, I want to be that.
Well, because also you were getting a lot of recognition. You were getting a lot of respect.
And I liked it. I like being treated special.
Exactly, and you still do. Come on.
Yeah, I'm still a little vain, and yeah, I'm working on it. That's why I want to get a tan, because I'm vain. I want to look good with a white shirt on. But yeah, and then when I started hearing stories about him, about the murders and everything, that it was like, I ever tell you the story when he took me to remember the 5 o'clock in Canard, and remember the 5 o'clock lounge?
I think it was Rockaway Boulevard.
No, it was down on like Avenue, one of them. It was down in like Canarsie.
Yeah, but Rockaway Boulevard went all the way down to about Avenue D, Avenue J.
5 o'clock lounge.
Yeah.
So he takes me in there one night, on a Friday night, and the place is packed. This is right before you started hanging out with me. The place was packed, and we walk in. It's a Friday night, and of course, he knew the bartender and everything. We walk in, we get a drink. Even though I'm 16 or 17, I'm drinking already. Nobody's cool for me because I'm Fat Andy's son. So I order a drink. We're drinking, and people, hey Andy, what's going on? And about an hour later, maybe a little longer, he says, look around. So I look around. He goes, you notice anything? I go, not really. What's what? He goes, you see how empty the place got? I said, yeah, a lot of people left. He goes, you know why they left? I go, why? He goes, because I'm here. I said, what are you talking? He goes, because they don't know if I'm here to hit somebody, kill somebody, abuse somebody. So they left. He goes, is that how you want to live?
And you said yes.
I was thrilled. I said, yeah, definitely. It got to reverse. I was like blown away by it. Like I said, oh shit, I want to do like that. But he thought it was going to like maybe be a margin. Yeah. It didn't. I just spread into it. And then I started meeting all them guys, Nicky, like the guys. That's why. See, you went the gang route. Seeing Nicky on the corner, all the wise guys with the cars, like in the movie Goodfellas, with like when Henry Hill was explaining when he's a kid, the flashy cars, the girls, the clothes. So that was around me my whole life. And I knew like the guys you looked up to, I knew them since I was born. Because they were kids when they were with my own man. They were teenagers. They were robbing nickels. You know how they got with my father, right?
I just know about the fights between the F&R in the Eastern Park.
Yeah, but they were robbing jukeboxes. They were breaking into jukeboxes, robbing nickels and dimes out of jukeboxes. And my father made Mikey Gow knew them, because Mikey Gow was friends with Lefty, and made Mikey Gow bring Nicky to him. And he gave Nicky a job because my father had all the horse rooms. Remember the horse rooms?
Yeah.
And Nicky used to go with a shop because he was a kid. And he used to go pick up all the slips at all the horse rooms. That was his first job. And then he brought Lenny, and then he brought his brother, and then he brought all of them. And then he started beefing with John Gotti when they were teenagers. They started beefing with John Gotti.
Fights.
And then he jumped out the window. Remember when Anthony had the after hours on top of the car wash on Fulton Street?
I'm trying to think of Fulton Street Car Wash.
Fulton Street, where Vinnie Mad Dog got killed. You know, remember when Vinnie Mad Dog got killed up the corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a car wash.
Yeah, I thought that was Ciro's.
The car wash.
Yeah, I thought the car.
Now Anthony had an after hour club upstairs.
Okay, yeah.
And John jumped out when Nicky was hitting him with the phone. He was hitting him. They had what happened was they were all in the back page on Eastern Parkway. My father's block. Eastern Parkway, the back page.
Yeah.
They were in the back page, and Anthony called up the back page and said, "John and Angelo here starting trouble." And Nicky, my father, and remember Irish Augie?
Yes.
He was with them. Irish Augie was there, and they all went to the after hours, and they walked in and they started fighting. And Irish Augie had a knife, and he was going to stab John, and my father grabbed his arm. Otherwise, John would have never he would have been gone. And my father grabbed his arm, and Nicky took the phone off the wall and started hitting him on the head with the receiver, because there was phones back then before the smartphone, and started hitting him on the head with the receiver, and he jumped out the window.
I never heard this.
Then they had.
I just used to watch the fights.
Then they had a big sit down with Charlie. That's why if they weren't beefing, John Gotti would have been probably around Tony Lee and my own man.
Hey, did you like that last video, or you like this one too?